Good evening, my name is Mohi Garib, engineer and author from Denmark. Today in the Why episode, I will talk about why and how to avoid wars in the world. I will discuss the idea of why it is necessary to ask the United States to exit NATO and encouraging Russia, which is part of Europe, to join instead for as alternative. And that, of course, on the condition that the Russian will transform it into a democratic regime. And of course, I will also discuss how this can happen. We have three questions to ask. Is the world at risk of a third world war? Can the United States abandon NATO? Can Europe managing NATO without United States? There are many reasons in the interest of the whole world that confirm the necessity for replacing the United States with Russia in the NATO. And of course that it will happen at the right time and under the right circumstance. The first reason is what happened increasing the escalation of conflict between United States and Russia since the Cold War, and which has threatened the occurrence of a third world war. Second reason, the fact that Russia is belonged to Europe historically, geographically, and ethnically. Third reason is the distance. The United States is far away from Europe, while Russia is a neighborhood, like that. Also, another reason is the increasing cost of war after the arms race. Another reason also that some country forced to join NATO after the invasion of Russia to Ukraine. Countries usually played an important neutral role in peace. Another reason is the high material and human cost, including killing, displacement, and destruction. And last is the division between the country, which divided to East Bloc and West Bloc, which increased the complexity of the problem. Now is we talk about why Europe is fighting or helping Ukraine. Europe is fighting with Ukraine's side against Russia. Among other things, is to preserve and maintain democratic value, such as freedom of speech, of freedom of press, and of belief, to also to maintain justice and welfare, which they achieved along many years, and also to fight the aggression which a country want to by force to prevent other country from joining, for example, NATO. At the same time, they must appeal to Russian and other undemocratic countries to stand up against dictatorship and seek to join democratic Europe. The war initiate enormous expense, actually, which have become a burden for ordinary citizens. In just 2 years, the war between Russia and Ukraine cost almost a quart trillion of dollars, more than 50,000 killed in 2 years, more than 6.5 million refugees, and 200,000 infrastructure destroyed, building and infrastructure. Unfortunately, a country like Sweden is forced to join NATO lately after being a neutral country since 1841 and used to contribute neutrally to solve hundreds of conflicts around the world. Now, let us clear that the United States goal is certainly to control Europe by confronting Russia, China, or any other forces, which is prevent her to be a superpower. And of course, in addition to that, they are benefiting of selling weapons and testing their effectiveness. There is some support to this goal, the goal of replacing Russia instead of United States in NATO. The first goal is the success of the Eastern Europe country since the wall fall in Berlin. They actually succeeded to integrate it in Europe, and even they been member in European Union, and later they been members of NATO. And such thing is confirmed the validity of this idea. The second supporting this idea is during the last decade, the new members from Eastern Bloc improved important strengths to the EU and to the NATO. The third the idea will lead to stop wars in Europe soil, as happened in Chechnya, Georgia, Abkhazia, Serbia, and recently Ukraine. Europe will become a great power that balances conflict between other great power and sides with developing country. The fifth goal we will not have a country will forced to join NATO out of fear, like what happened to Sweden, Finland, and Ukraine. Based on the above, and for the sake of peace on the earth, special attention must be paid to the Russian people, as they need encouragement and motivation to strive to transform themselves into a democratic system by getting rid of Putin and getting rid of the one-party system. The conclusion is the history will record and remember that in the 21st century, Putin, in the name of Russia, has started war in Europe, caused killing and displacement of thousands, forces the rest of the world to enter into an arms race, threatens nuclear maneuvers, and forcefully prevent neighboring country from choosing their ideology regime and also. What history will record and remember is that the United States insisted to dominate all parts of the world under the pretext of protecting its interest to maintain its supremacy as a superpower and its profit from the war to sell more weapons. The history also will remember that it is a big mistake of Europe country blindly followed United States policy and did not become independent from it yet. In fact, the whole world is falling victim to the vicious cycle of evil. The only hope is that all countries of the world come together to convince the United States to leave NATO and call on Russian people to rise up against the dictatorship and join the EU and NATO. Thank you for listening. See you in the next episode of Why under the slogan Democracy is the Solution.